My friend, before you take your first step today, before you speak your first word, before you make that decision that could shape your life, stop for a moment. Take a deep breath and pray these powerful words. Lord, go before me and lead me. Why is this so important? Because no matter how strong, how intelligent, or how capable we may think we are, the truth is, we don't know what's waiting for us today. We don't know the unseen challenges, the unexpected storms, or the hidden blessings that lie ahead. But God does, and when you invite Him to go before you, you are asking the Creator of the universe to guide every step you take. When you open your eyes in the morning, something powerful happens, the beginning of a brand new day, a day filled with endless possibilities, choices, challenges, and opportunities. Each morning is like a blank page waiting to be written. And the question that matters most is this: what will you write on that page? The way you start your day is more important than most people realize. It sets the tone for your thoughts, your actions, your emotions, and your decisions. That's why the most powerful thing you can ever do before anything else is to start your day with prayer. Prayer is not simply words spoken into the air. It is a sacred conversation with the one who holds your day, your future, and your destiny in his hands. Think about how most people begin their mornings. The alarm goes off, and almost immediately they are bombarded with noise, emails, text messages, social media feeds, rushing thoughts about deadlines and responsibilities. From the very first moment, the mind is pulled into chaos, into worry, into self-dependence, and yet there is another way, a better way, a way that doesn't just prepare you to handle the day, but transforms the way you live it. When you kneel down, or even simply whisper in your heart, Lord, go before me and lead me today, you are inviting peace instead of chaos, clarity instead of confusion, and strength instead of weakness. Starting the day with prayer is like handing over the steering wheel of your life to the one who knows every road, every turn, every detour, and every destination. You see, no matter how much we plan or prepare, there will always be things we cannot predict. A sudden phone call that changes your schedule, a conversation that shifts your emotions, an unexpected opportunity or challenge that demands wisdom. But when you begin your day by surrendering it to God, you are declaring that you don't want to face those unknowns alone. You want His presence to go before you, guiding you in ways you could never guide yourself. Prayer in the morning does something extraordinary. It resets your spirit. Just as you recharge your phone overnight to have enough energy to last the day, prayer is the recharge of your soul. Without it, you step into the day drained, distracted, and vulnerable. With it, you step into the day refreshed, focused, and spiritually equipped. It becomes the shield that covers you, the light that goes ahead of you, and the anchor that keeps you steady no matter what winds blow against you. Consider this: when you give God the first minutes of your day, you are not just reciting words, you are acknowledging that He is the source of your strength and the leader of your journey. It is a sign of humility that says, God, I cannot do this day without you. I don't know what's ahead, but I trust you to walk before me. That simple act of surrender changes everything. It shifts your mindset from fear to faith, from anxiety to assurance, from self-reliance to divine reliance. And here is something remarkable. Starting your day with prayer doesn't just impact you, it impacts everyone around you. When you carry peace in your heart because you prayed, you respond differently to people. You become more patient in traffic, more gracious in your conversations, more thoughtful in your decisions. Prayer doesn't only prepare you for what happens outside. It transforms what happens inside of you. And when the inside is aligned with God, the outside begins to reflect His presence. Every great decision, every great act of courage, every moment of divine wisdom often begins with a quiet prayer spoken in the morning. Imagine how different your life would look if, instead of rushing into your day with fear or distraction, you walked into it with God's hand holding yours. Problems may still come, but they will not shake you. Uncertainty may still appear, but it will not overwhelm you. You will move through the hours with the confidence that the Lord who created the day is walking before you in it. So many people search for strength in the wrong places, through motivational quotes, through human advice, through their own determination. But none of these can compare to the strength found when you start your day in communion with God. His guidance is perfect, His wisdom is endless, and His presence is unshakable. Prayer is the open door that lets Him into every moment, every thought, and every action of your day. And when you choose to begin with Him, you are choosing the most powerful foundation you could ever stand on. One of the hardest lessons in life is learning that we are not in control. We spend so much time planning, organizing, and trying to manage every detail of our lives. We write schedules, we create lists, we make decisions with the confidence that we can shape the future. Yet deep down, every one of us knows that no matter how much we try to control, there will always be something beyond our reach. The truth is, control is often an illusion. That is why surrender is not weakness, it is wisdom. When you pray, "Lord, go before me and lead me," you are surrendering control not because you have failed, but because you finally understand that God can handle your life far better than you ever could. Think about how exhausting it is to try to control everything. You try to control outcomes, but people don't always respond the way you expect. You try to control circumstances, but events happen that you could never have predicted. You try to control your future, but uncertainty always finds its way in. The more we cling to control, the heavier life becomes. Anxiety rises, stress increases, and fear takes over. But the moment you let go and say, "God, I can't carry this anymore. I trust you to take it from here," a peace enters your heart that no human effort could ever produce. Surrendering control is not giving up, it is giving in. To the one who sees beyond what you can see, you see today, but He sees eternity. You see your limited abilities, but He sees His limitless power. You see closed doors, but He sees the path that leads to something greater. When you surrender, you are acknowledging that your wisdom has limits, but His wisdom has none. That your strength is temporary, but His strength is everlasting. That your plans may fail, but His plans are perfect. So often, the reason people hesitate to surrender is fear. Fear of losing what they want. Fear that God's way will not align with their own desires. But if you look back on your life, how many times did you cling to something you thought was good, only to realize later that letting go brought you something far better? God does not take control to punish you. He takes control to protect you. He knows the dangers ahead that you cannot see. He knows the people who will hurt you before they ever arrive in your life. He knows the opportunities that will build you up and the ones that will break you down. Surrender is saying, "Lord, I don't want to walk blindly in my own understanding. I want you to lead me into what is best, even if I don't fully understand it yet." There is a deep freedom in surrender. Imagine carrying a heavy bag on your shoulders, walking mile after mile, exhausted and bent under the weight. Then imagine someone stronger than you coming alongside and saying, "Let me carry that for you." Wouldn't you feel lighter? That is exactly what happens when you surrender your life into God's hands. You no longer carry the burden of making everything work out. You no longer live in the prison of constant control. Instead, you walk with peace because you know someone greater is guiding every step. Surrender also changes the way you face problems. When control is in your hands, every obstacle feels like the end of the road. But when you have surrendered to God, every obstacle becomes an opportunity for Him to show His power. When you are in control, failure feels final. But when you surrender, even failure becomes a stepping stone to His greater plan. You no longer measure success by what you accomplish alone, but by how closely you walk with the one who is leading you. The most powerful lives are not those built on personal control, but those anchored in surrender. Look at the people who radiate peace no matter what storms surround them. Look at the ones who seem unshaken when life takes unexpected turns. Their secret is not that they control more, it is that they have surrendered more. They have learned to let go of the need to know every answer and instead trust the one who already holds the answers. Each time you pray, "Lord, go before me and lead me," you are practicing surrender. You are telling God, "I don't want to rely on my limited perspective. I want your wisdom, your strength, your timing, and your plan." And every time you do this, you discover that surrender is not loss, it is gain. Because when God leads, He always leads to life, to peace, to purpose, and to blessings far beyond what your own control could ever achieve. Life is filled with uncertainty. No matter how much we plan, prepare, or try to predict, there are always moments when the future feels unclear, when the path ahead is hidden in fog, and when decisions weigh heavily on our hearts. We face crossroads where either direction could change everything, and we wonder, what if I make the wrong choice? What if I miss what God wants for me? It is in these moments that the prayer, "Lord, go before me and lead me," becomes more powerful than ever. Because uncertainty is not a place of fear when you walk with God, it becomes a place where His guidance shines brightest. Think about how fragile human wisdom is when it comes to the unknown. We can look at facts, we can analyze options, we can even seek the advice of others, but none of these can guarantee the outcome. Life has a way of surprising us, sometimes for better and sometimes for worse. That's why God's guidance is so essential. He sees the things we cannot. He knows the details that remain hidden to us. Where our sight ends, His vision stretches into eternity. When we pray for Him to lead us, we are asking the one who knows the end from the beginning to direct our steps, so that we don't stumble in the dark. Uncertainty often produces anxiety because we feel out of control. The human mind craves certainty, it longs for security, it wants answers. But faith thrives where certainty is absent. Faith is not about knowing every detail in advance. Faith is about trusting the one who does. When you invite God into your uncertainty, you may not receive all the answers immediately, but you will receive peace in the waiting. You may not see the full map of your journey, but you will have the assurance that each step is ordered by His hand. His guidance doesn't always come in the form of a loud voice or a dramatic sign. It often comes quietly, through a gentle nudge, through scripture that speaks to your heart, through doors that open and doors that close, through a sense of peace that surpasses understanding. Sometimes uncertainty is God's way of drawing us closer to Him. If we knew every detail of the future, would we ever lean on Him with complete dependence? Probably not. But when we face the unknown, we are reminded that we cannot walk alone. That is when we discover the depth of His faithfulness. Each step we surrender to Him in uncertainty becomes a testimony of trust, and each moment of guidance becomes evidence of His love. There is beauty in the way God guides. He doesn't overwhelm us with the whole picture at once. He shows us enough to take the next step. Just as a lamp lights the path only a few feet ahead, His Word and His Spirit guide us one decision at a time. We may not see the entire journey, but as we move forward in faith, clarity begins to unfold. The closed doors that once frustrated us start to make sense. The delays that tested our patience reveal themselves as protection, and the detours we never planned become the very roads that lead us to His greater blessings. Uncertainty can also be the place where God teaches us to release our fears. Many people become paralyzed by indecision, afraid of choosing wrongly. But when you truly trust God's guidance, you realize that He can redirect you if you start down the wrong path. His guidance is not fragile. It is strong enough to correct, to reroute, and to restore. Even if you take a step in the wrong direction, He is faithful to bring you back to the path He has chosen. That is the comfort of surrendering your uncertainty to Him. You cannot outmaneuver His grace. When you face uncertain times, remember that your feelings are not your guide. Fear can mislead you, doubt can blind you, and impatience can push you into mistakes. But God's Spirit is steady, clear, and reliable. He will never mislead you. His guidance is always rooted in truth, in love, and in His perfect plan for your life. This is why it is so powerful to begin your day by asking Him to go before you, because long before you encounter the questions that trouble you, He already holds the answers. So, when the path is unclear, when the decision is heavy, when the future feels hidden, do not panic. Do not give in to fear. Instead, pray with confidence, "Lord, I don't know what's ahead, but I trust you to lead me. Light my path, show me the way, and give me the wisdom to follow your voice." That prayer is enough to turn uncertainty into assurance, because the one you are trusting is never uncertain. He knows where He is taking you, and His guidance will never fail. Every day we wake up and step into a world that is filled with things we cannot see. Some are blessings waiting to unfold, but others are dangers hidden just beyond our vision. There are spiritual battles we are unaware of, temptations disguised as opportunities, and circumstances that could trip us if we walk blindly. That is why prayer is not optional, it is essential. When you pray, "Lord, go before me and lead me," you are asking God not only to guide you into the right path, but also to shield you from dangers you cannot perceive. His protection is not limited to what you notice. It extends to the unseen traps and the subtle forces that would otherwise work against you. We often think of protection in physical terms, safety from accidents, harm, or visible threats. But the greatest dangers are often invisible. They may come as distractions that slowly pull your heart away from God, as influences that seem harmless at first but plant seeds of compromise, or as choices that appear wise in the moment but lead to regret later on. The enemy rarely announces himself with loud warnings. He works quietly, weaving snares that look appealing, hoping you will step into them without realizing it. This is why you cannot rely solely on your own strength or wisdom to walk through life safely. You need divine protection, and that comes when you surrender your day to God in prayer. Consider how many times in your life you were delayed or redirected, only to later discover that what you thought was an inconvenience was actually protection. The closed door that frustrated you may have been God's way of shielding you from disaster. The unanswered prayer that left you confused may have been His way of keeping you safe from something you could not see. Protection is not always obvious in the moment, but when God goes before you, He positions Himself as both your shield and your guide. He fights battles you never know about, and He removes obstacles you never even realized were in your way. There are also dangers within ourselves that we need protection from. Our own impatience, pride, or desires can lead us into situations that are harmful. Sometimes the greatest danger is not external but internal. The tendency to trust our emotions instead of God's wisdom, to chase what looks good instead of waiting for what is right. When you pray, you are not only asking God to protect you from the world around you, but also from the weaknesses within you. His Spirit can check your heart, stop you before you speak words you'll regret, and close your eyes to temptations that would draw you off course. God's protection also covers the unseen spiritual realm. Scripture reminds us that our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual forces that we cannot see. That means there are battles being fought around you every single day that you are not aware of. Temptations are crafted, lies are whispered, distractions are arranged. But when you begin your day with prayer, you are placing yourself under the covering of God's power, and no weapon formed against you can prosper. You may not see the arrows flying, but His shield blocks them. You may not hear the schemes plotted against you, but His presence dismantles them before they touch you. This kind of protection is not about living in fear, but about walking in confidence. Fear says, "What if something bad happens?" Faith says, "Even if danger surrounds me, God's protection is greater." When you trust Him to go before you, you no longer live anxious about what could go wrong, because you are anchored in the assurance that He is making things right. You may still encounter challenges, but you will never walk into them unguarded. His presence goes ahead of you like a warrior clearing the battlefield, making sure the path is safe for your steps. Think of how a shepherd leads his flock. The sheep do not see the wolves hiding in the distance. They do not notice the cliffs that could cause them to stumble. All they know is that as long as they stay close to the shepherd, they are safe. The shepherd's presence is their protection. In the same way, when you allow God to lead, you are walking under the watchful eye of the one who never sleeps, who never gets distracted, and who never fails to defend his own. Every morning when you pray, "Lord, go before me and lead me," you are asking Him to step into places you have not yet entered, to prepare the way, to shield you from danger, and to keep you aligned with His will. That simple prayer places your life in the safest hands possible, because while you cannot see what is coming, He can, and while you cannot protect yourself from every hidden threat, He can. Prayer is the key that unlocks His covering, and His protection is the greatest gift you can carry into your day. There is something powerful about a person who lives with confidence and peace. They walk into a room, and you can sense that they are not easily shaken. They face challenges, yet their spirit does not crumble. They go through storms, but there is a calmness about them that cannot be explained by human strength alone. That kind of life is not built on self-assurance or temporary stability. It is built on the unshakable foundation of trusting God to go before them. When you start your day with the prayer, "Lord, go before me and lead me," you are inviting God to fill your heart with a confidence that no circumstance can steal and a peace that no trouble can destroy. Confidence and peace are not found in the absence of problems. Many people believe that once their circumstances improve, once their finances stabilize, once their relationships heal, then they will finally feel at peace. But peace that depends on circumstances is fragile because circumstances change. True peace is found in God's presence, not in the shifting conditions of life. When you know He is leading you, you can face uncertainty without fear, because your confidence is not in yourself, it is in Him. Living with confidence does not mean arrogance, it means assurance. It means walking into situations knowing that you are not walking alone. It means making decisions not with fear of failure, but with faith that God will direct your steps. It means understanding that even if something does not go the way you expected, it will still work out for your good because He has gone before you. This is why prayer is the foundation of confidence. Each time you surrender your day to God, you are reminding yourself that you are backed by the power of heaven, and that gives you courage to move forward. Peace works hand in hand with confidence. Without peace, confidence can turn into reckless ambition. But when your heart is grounded in God's peace, you no longer rush anxiously or make choices out of fear. You live in a rhythm of trust, knowing that His timing is perfect. Peace allows you to be steady when the world around you is shaking. Peace allows you to listen when others panic. Peace allows you to rest even while waiting for answers, because you trust that God is already working on your behalf. This kind of peace cannot be manufactured. You can try to distract yourself, you can try to encourage yourself, you can even try to convince yourself that everything will be fine, but human reassurance only goes so far. Divine peace, however, is different. Scripture calls it the peace that surpasses all understanding, meaning it doesn't always make sense to the human mind. You can be in the middle of a storm, and yet your heart is calm. You can be facing opposition, and yet your spirit is steady. That peace comes only from God, and it comes when you let Him lead. Confidence and peace are also contagious. When you live with them, the people around you notice. In a world filled with fear, anxiety, and uncertainty, your calm assurance becomes a testimony. It shows others that there is a different way to live, a way not rooted in fear but in faith. You may not even realize it, but the way you carry yourself after praying for God's guidance can inspire others to seek the same strength. When your coworkers see you remain calm under pressure, when your family sees you trust God even when life doesn't make sense, you are pointing them toward the source of your confidence and peace. There is also freedom in living this way. So many people are bound by worry, constantly overthinking, constantly fearing the worst. But when you trust God to go before you, you are free from the prison of anxiety. You no longer lie weighed down by what could go wrong, because you are anchored in the truth that God is in control. You no longer lie searching for approval from others, because your worth and direction come from Him. That freedom allows you to walk with your head held high, not because of pride, but because of trust. Each morning when you pray, "Lord, go before me and lead me," you are clothing yourself in confidence and wrapping yourself in peace. You are declaring that no matter what comes, you will not face it alone. And as you carry that mindset throughout your day, you will notice how differently you respond to life. The frustrations that once drained you lose their power. The fears that once controlled you no longer hold you back. The doubts that once clouded your vision are replaced by clarity and assurance. That is the gift of living with confidence and peace. Life that is unshaken because it is built on the unshakable presence of God. When the storms of life rage around us and everything seems uncertain, one of the greatest gifts we can hold onto is peace of mind. It is not something the world can easily give, nor is it something that can be purchased, earned, or traded. True peace comes from within, rooted in a deep trust that we are not abandoned, that even in the darkest valleys we are being guided by a hand greater than our own. Many people spend their whole lives chasing after material possessions, wealth, or positions of power, thinking these things will bring them peace, only to discover that they still feel restless, anxious, and incomplete. Real peace does not come from what we have but from who we trust. It is found when we release our grip on fear, surrender our worries, and believe that there is a divine plan unfolding, even if we cannot see it in the moment. Peace of mind is powerful because it allows us to walk through difficulties without being destroyed by them. Challenges will always come, whether in relationships, careers, finances, or health. But peace gives us the ability to face those challenges with clarity and courage. Instead of panicking or making decisions out of desperation, a peaceful heart is steady and grounded. Imagine being in the middle of a storm on the sea. If the sailor lets fear take over, he will make rash choices and possibly sink the ship. But if he trusts his compass and keeps his focus steady, he can guide the vessel to safety. Life works the same way. Our inner peace is the compass that helps us navigate storms without losing ourselves. There is also a profound strength in choosing peace over anger, resentment, or revenge. Many times we may be wronged, betrayed, or misunderstood. Our natural reaction is to fight back, to prove ourselves right, or to seek justice. But peace reminds us that we do not need to carry the burden of bitterness, because bitterness only poisons the one who holds it. When we choose to let go and live in peace, we free ourselves from chains that could otherwise keep us bound for years. Forgiveness, patience, and calmness are not signs of weakness. They are signs of wisdom and strength. They show that we refuse to allow negativity to steal our joy or dictate our future. Peace also nurtures our health. Countless studies have shown that constant worry, stress, and anxiety break the body down, leading to sickness, fatigue, and even long-term disease. A peaceful mind, however, restores and strengthens. It improves sleep, stabilizes emotions, and energizes the body. This is why cultivating peace is not only a spiritual necessity, but also a physical and emotional one. To live without peace is to live in constant inner warfare. To live with peace is to allow the soul, body, and mind to rest and flourish. When we protect our peace, we are protecting our well-being. Yet peace is not something that automatically comes. It is something we must nurture daily. It grows when we choose gratitude instead of complaint, when we choose faith instead of fear, when we choose prayer instead of panic. Peace is not the absence of problems. It is the presence of calmness even in the midst of them. Just as a bird builds its nest high above, safe from the turmoil on the ground, we too must build our inner world above the chaos of daily life. This requires discipline and intention, guarding what we allow into our hearts, focusing on what uplifts us, and staying connected to the one who is the source of all peace. The beauty of peace is that it not only transforms us, but also influences everyone around us. A peaceful person carries an atmosphere that calms others, just as a stormy spirit spreads tension. When we walk into a room with peace, we can ease conflicts, soothe hearts, and bring clarity where there is confusion. Our peace can inspire others to seek the same calm in their own lives. In this way, peace becomes a ripple effect that can spread far beyond us. Peace is one of the most priceless treasures we can ever hold. It is the anchor in the storm, the stillness in the chaos, and the assurance that no matter what comes, we are safe and cared for. When we protect our peace and live from that place of inner calm, we unlock a life of freedom, strength, and joy. This peace cannot be shaken by external circumstances because it is rooted in something unshakable. And once we have it, nothing in this world can compare to its power.